I don't think any other movie that's ever been made makes you so aware of how loud humans can be. A Quiet Place is simply a very awesome movie that is very engaging and immersive, especially if you're able to watch it in complete silence, which is definitely the way it is meant to be watched. This film does so much to build a very small world that these characters inhabit, and it makes it feel so real. A lot of disaster fiction is so focused on the early days of a disaster. You know, if it's a zombie movie, it's always the beginning, and then how do you solve it, or an alien invasion. And what I really love about A Quiet Place is here we have what's basically an alien invasion, and it's not about how do you beat them, it's how do you survive. Life has to continue, and that's what these characters are doing. They're trying to do the best they can to make a life in this new world. They talk about getting older and needing to provide for themselves and trying to figure out what this new world is that they now live in. And the relationships between these characters are definitely the focus and some of the best parts of the film. John Krasinski has done a fantastic job in this, both with helping with the writing and the directing and acting. This movie shows how truly talented John Krasinski is. It's amazing to look at the person who I think a lot of us just remember as Jim from The Office primarily, and seeing that he's the director, he's one of the writers, and he's the lead role in this movie. And his relationship with his wife really helps sell the film, because when you see them acting as husband and wife, that's that's who they are. They are husband and wife on and off the screen. And it's fantastic that in this movie there is a character who is deaf, and she's played by a deaf actor. It's fantastic. It lends authenticity to this film. The sound editing for this film will keep you on the edge of your seat the entire time. There's very little score, but when there is a score, it's so noticeable. The sounds of this film are always very obvious because there's so few of them. They choose them very carefully, and they did such a fantastic job capturing that. The only thing that I could say about it is that you're very aware of how loud people are, not in the film, but in the theater. There's several moments of complete silence that you can hear people rows away from you coughing, eating their popcorn, pouring out their candy. I was in a major theater, and I could hear the voices of the people in the lobby during these quiet moments because it's that quiet of a movie. And I really want to stress that child actors are often some of the worst parts of most movies, but these child actors were fantastic. They were so good, and if this is any indication of their abilities, I'd never seen either of them in anything before, but if this is an indication of their abilities, then they're gonna go places. I think this film did such a great job of showing, not telling. Obviously, they couldn't tell you a lot because there couldn't be much noise made throughout it. There's only a couple of scenes where sound is allowed, where the characters are able to speak, and even those moments are still so tense for the most part. There's only one or two scenes maybe where there's the idea that they can speak verbally without any consequences. There's only one or two scenes where that comes. And so it's a really great look into what would life be like if we couldn't speak, if we couldn't make any noises. It feels so realistic and grounded. I think something that some people could say is, oh, it's such a coincidence that, you know, they happen to have all these different skills that make them able to survive. I would argue though that it's much less that they just happen to have these skills, but that they only survived because they had these skills. It really seems that the mother is a doctor and that the father is a farmer who happens to have a lot of mechanical knowledge. I don't think that they would have been able to survive as long as they did without those skills. I'm trying to keep this as spoiler free as I can. I just highly recommend that you go see it. John Krasinski has a fantastic performance. It's difficult to transfer from being a very popular TV show character like Jim Halpert in The Office, and then to be able to be in a role in a movie and have people see you as something other than that. But I think that he's done a good job in this. Some people obviously won't be able to separate that, but I was willing to buy into it that he was this character, and it was fantastic. He did such a great job, and I'm really looking forward to the next film that he's going to work on. All in all, as I've said, I highly recommend you go see this. However, I would also suggest maybe you go see it during a matinee or really any time that is not going to be as busy, because you're going to want as few of people as possible in the theater during this experience. This is definitely a film that everyone should see. If you can't see it in theaters, then you have got to rent it. This is a renting movie if you can't see it in theater. Be willing to pay money to see this, because it's just a really great movie. If you have the chance to see it in theaters, I recommend seeing it at a time that's not going to be very busy, because like I've said, you're going to be hyper aware of all the sounds around you. Go during a matinee or go during a really late showing. I don't know when. You know your theater best, but I would highly recommend going to see it when there's going to be as few of people as possible during your viewing, because that will make it as optimal of a viewing as possible. Thanks for watching my review about A Quiet Place. I hope that you get the chance to go see this movie. It was very moving for me, and I think it will be moving for you as well. Have you had a chance to see it? Write down below what you think in the comments about this movie. And why don't you give this video a like if you enjoyed it? And if you're enjoying all of my reviews, then why don't you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can keep up with all my videos I put out. And until the next video, I'll see you then.